Wait for that to go live. Okay, we're looking pretty good so far. I just got to see things start happening over here. Oh, looking good, looking good. All right, I've got things going. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the channel. It's time to look at the latest dev server for the new update, Sky Guardians. And since I'm kind of working on trying to get everything functional once again, bear with me if there are any technical glitches on the stream. Let me know how the audio is when you start getting on. But we're going to be having some fun here. We're going to get as much done as we can. And there'll be times when you will see this desktop. It's okay. We expect that to happen every once in a while because it's just a whole technical mix-up and all that kind of stuff going on right now. So bear with me, like I said. We're going to get started on Sky Guardians here in just a moment. And pull up the dev server update notes. There we go. All right. Now that I got things kind of set up, and I've got the dev blog, the posts about it over here on the left. You're going to see my desktop every once in a while. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. We are going to go ahead and show what's going on. Now, start off with, they do have some updated maps. The one that I was seeing on ground battles earlier, since we're just waiting for people to get on. Let me switch this out. That one's fine right there. Nope, you know what? I don't think the ejection seat works yet on the Tech Tree one. So let's just go ahead and start off with a ground realistic battle here. You can kind of see what's going on with the new Seversk 13, which is what I've been getting every time so far. There we go, winter version. Okay, so far we're looking okay. All right, there we go. Now, this is just to kind of show off the map, so I'm going to probably die a bunch of times. Don't you worry about it. That's okay. Hi, dear. Glad to have you on the stream. Let me know how the audio is. Thank you for jumping on. I also need to know if the game audio is actually overwhelming my microphone audio. So let me know. I expect it'll get loud because I'm going to have to turn down the volume on my headset a little bit just so I can hear myself talk. So this is the new winter version of Seversk 13. And as we go bipping along in it, you can see that some of the trees have still got a little bit of a mix of color underneath there, which would indicate late fall rather than a winter tree, because these should not have leaves under this circumstances right here. Now that one looks just about the right colors for a really late fall, but there's an awful lot of green in this mix right here. Okay, let's see. By the way, the fence sounds sound like they're a little bit different than they used to be. So running over fences is a lot more fun than it was a long time ago. Kind of sounds like you're thumping on a 55-gallon plastic drum. That's what it sounds like to me. No, I am not. Wahoo! I don't remember there being a lump there before. So there's lumps of snow and things like that. Some few things, other things that are different. Okay, let's pause for a moment. So I don't remember the... Sorry, I keep hearing people move. So I don't remember there being snow drifts like this, large lumps in the middle of the road. So that's something to keep an eye on, a change. Oh, okay. it's really just a basic winter map in most normal regards. No real surprises. It's just a whitewashed version of the exact same map you've seen before. Let's go ahead and take care of this decap right here. Oops, didn't mean to run into that tree. Let's see. There was at least a light tank around here somewhere. Whoa, he hurt. Yeah, that's going to hit a building. Not anything you need to think about. Okay, whoops. Man, it's like having my anchor stuck in molasses or something. Anyway, it's a pretty map. Okay, that gets stationary. Damaged. Destroyed. Overall, not too bad. The white definitely means your winter camo is going to have some use again. Now, once we get this capped, I'm going to try and make it to B point so we can actually compare and we can see what it looks like at B compared to normal. Ram Ranch, I actually am a big fan of the M18 myself. I have a lot of fun driving the thing. It's probably... Oh, there's an SU-25K, of course. Also, the new showing me the ammunition thing is not really doing anything for me at all. I don't know about the rest of you guys, what you think about that. Let me know in the comments. You can see when you get killed, it'll show what ammunition you got killed by. Might be useful for learning how things work. Also, yeah, give me an audio check, guys. It'd be nice to know. In fact, I might have to audio check myself here. Yeah, sounds like I'm all right. At least I'm understandable on this on the cheap speakers I've got in the laptop next to me to keep track of things. Now this side, from my explorations earlier in the day, doesn't seem to have any significant difference from how it's been in the past. So I'm not seeing much here that's going to be, I mean, it's white. That's the difference. Now, Subverse 13 is not a terribly exciting map anyway. Right there. That's a bot. There we go. We got cap point A. And mission accomplished. Perfect. So that's kind of a quick summary of what Subverse 13 looks like. There's a few little changes like the lumps of snow that are on the roads and things like that, but nothing really hugely game-breakingly different. Okay, yeah, I don't need to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Research, finish. Okay. Okay. Purchase, right. Yeah, sorry, got to do this. It seems like this time on the dev server, they got an older version of the player profiles. Oops, hang on. Bear with me a second here. Okay, sorry, had to make a comment there. All right, so that's the quick details on Subverse 13. Now let's go ahead and get started on the new additions to the game. We'll start with air, then we'll go to ground, then we'll go to naval. So, Air USA, we're getting a new F4S pack. Hop over there. Bloop, 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 bloop. It's a fairly typical Phantom in most regards. It does have some new AIM 7s. Thank you, Mr. Lurky Turkey. Appreciate the feedback. Have to make sure because let me tell you, the way I'm doing this one today is I've got my main computer. I'm feeding all the stuff from my main computer to this little computer off to the side over here, and that's actually doing the streaming using my cell phone for the internet connection. So it's let's just say things are kind of balanced on a knife edge around here. So here's the F4S Phantom 2. It is a premium 11.3. It comes in a pack, and its claim to fame really kind of is the AIM 7Fs. It does not have a built-in cannon at all. Otherwise, it's a pretty typical F4 Phantom. I'm not really sure why they're giving us this particular premium. They have the A6E tram, but the F4S is at least a supersonic fighter variant that might be more useful as a premium. We'll see. Otherwise, it's pretty typical, so I'm not going to bother, like test flying it or something like that, unless you want me to. Let me know in the comments. It's something else. I'm not even going to say how much I've cobbled together here, Lurky, to make all this stuff come together, and I do mean cobbled. All right, Germany is getting a new MiG-29. And as far as I've been able to tell, it is just like the MiG-29 that's in the Russian tree. Got a pretty garden variety of loadouts. Got some Fab 500s. Got the incendiaries. This is all kind of set up so you'll want to make your own custom loadouts, because that's the fun part right there. So you can have air-to-air missiles, and you can have bombs. You can have all the things just put together in a custom loadout. That'll be a lot of fun. MiG-29, it's already familiar and already in the game. So let me know if you want me to test it. Well, I can't test fly it, so we can do a preview on it, and you can kind of see the baseline specs. Admittedly, it is a pretty aircraft. Then we go to the Russian Yak 141. Now, believe me, guys, just let me know if you need me to pause or go back to something. I'm happy to help out. Just comment over here. I'll be keeping an eye on it. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep on going. Now, this is the Yak 141. This thing, from this direction, is really ugly. There's just something wrong about the way this thing's designed. But it's like a gigantic butt. I'm sorry. That's what it looks like to me. But, pun intended, it's otherwise a fairly nice-looking aircraft. Vertical takeoff, it does get supersonic, but it has to struggle to get there. Here's the details there. Here's the modifications. We can look at the secondary weapons. Pause at the modifications for a second here. It's got quite a bit. And you got all the different types of air-to-air missiles, the bombs, the incendiaries, the rockets, and of course gun pods if you would like to go that route. Should be, as far as functionality goes, should be pretty decent. It does not excite me like I would have thought it would. Just put it that way. That said, if you like the Yak 141, it is all your absolutely your ball of wax to jump in there. And I can't talk tonight, so it's going to be a long stream. The other thing that's changing is they're changing the bonus premium you get when you first start playing. Oh, I'll tell you in a bit here. I'm still going through it and figuring out what I want to do here. The bonus premium at the bottom of the tree for if when you first start flying Russian aircraft has changed to the I-15 BIS. The regular, I think it used to be the 153 or something like that. I don't remember what it is anymore. Anyway, that premium has been swapped out. It'll still be there, but you've got the I-15 BIS instead. I think it's just 153. That's everything in Russia. Great Britain. Now, Great Britain's got a lot of interesting things going on here. And some of them I'm looking forward to, and I'll tell you what those are as I get there. They have a new Tornado F3. Let's preview that thing. And this is a pretty aircraft. So pretty. At battle rating 11.3, though, you're gonna be right at top tier. You know, going to town with all the latest gear and equipment. It does have the fuel tanks, the droppable fuel tanks. Let's hit some secondaries here. Got the drop tanks, got some AIM-9Ls, some sky flashes, and you can mix and match as you need to make the airplane your own. I haven't seen any indications it's going to get any ground attack ordnance yet, so it'll be all pretty much air-to-air, air superiority type stuff. That said, hey, a 27mm Mauser is not going to go awry. That's the Tornado F3. Take a look at those specs real quick there. At top tier, basically at this point, I think you should be in pretty good shape with the Tornado F3. Now, the parts that I'm excited about in the British tree, drop right down here to the Beaufighter Mark 6C. And now you see right here that we've got a couple of bomb loadouts that we can use. For a long time, you could only use your cannons to do anything in the Beaufighter. Now they've added some bomb loadouts to that one. Actually, all three of the Beaufighters. So, for instance, there used to be just RP3s in the Mark 10. Now you can add some 1,000-pound bombs or some of the other mixed bombs. I'm super excited about that because I expect that'll make the Beaufighter a really good multi-purpose aircraft, both in air and ground. Really nice. And I always like a good strike aircraft. They also added the, I think it was the Lancaster. Let me jump over here. Sterling Lancaster. There it is. I have to admit, my British bombers are woefully inadequate. But you see right here, you got a 12,000-pound bomb. Whew, 6 tons. And it's got 6,300 kilograms of TNT equivalent. So this will seriously wipe some stuff out. On the dev stream earlier today, they actually one-shotted the carrier in the test drive. They also have an 8,000-pound bomb that they've added. But why would you carry it when you can carry 12,000? Just saying. On the other hand, you can... Well, that's a 4,000. Okay. I wonder if you'd be able to pack a few more bombs alongside your 8,000. And I think that might make it so it's interesting. Otherwise, you can really only carry the 12,000-pounder. It's hard to get it off the runway, though. The other one, let me see, was it the Lincoln? I think it was the Lincoln. Nope, it wasn't. I'm reading your deal, Bubba9R. He says, it is cool to see them add the HMCS Terra Nova, only because my dad served 10 years on it. He took my brother and I on 8 family day trips. Got to see them fire all of the armament she carried. That is awesome, Bubba. it's probably a good memory to have too. You know, my dad actually served on an aircraft carrier, and that was long before I was born. And so I never got to see it anything but pictures and stories. So I envy you being able to see what your father served on there. It's super cool. It really is. Okay, I think that's everything in Britain. Oh, dang it. There it is. Okay. Phew. Thought it something had crashed. Whew. Okay, this one's one that's going to be a bit controversial. And that is the F-16AJ. Now, the reason it's controversial is that Japan has never accepted into service an F-16. There was, however, a proposal for a Japanese version of the F-16A fighter jet for Japan. They didn't take it. They ended up, I think, going with the F-2, but it was a proposal. Now, the reason it's controversial, obviously, is it was never accepted into service. It never actually existed as this is here, because they never built any. They still made F-16s, they made F-16As, but they didn't do the ones with the customization for Japan. That said, on the one hand, I don't like it when they add things that weren't actually in service. On the other hand, it's Japan. They don't exactly have a whole lot of options. So I'm willing to allow it. I'm okay with it, I think. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, it's a totally normal F-16. Let's see the secondary weapons. AIM-9Ps, AIM-9Ls, AIM-7Fs, AIM-9Ps, drop tanks, some bombs, some FFARs, even some AGM-65Bs. This should be a lot of fun to fly. Okay, let's see. That's it for Japan, and that's it for aircraft. Out of all these, I'm actually most excited about the bomb additions to the Beaufighters and the Lancasters. That's the type of thing. I'm glad to see them actually bring the things they actually fought with into the game. None of the other things jump out at me as being truly exciting. Just because they're all high-tier stuff, except for that one premium that's for low-tier Russia. So, not too terribly excited about that part. Let's move on to the ground vehicles. And let me, the first one is a lot of fun here. Army, this is the T1E1, which was the precursor to the M6A1 and the M6A, M6 series of tanks in some ways. Let's see if they fixed in the time that I've been off the server. I did some squadron battles today. That was a lot of fun. Let's see if they fixed it. Okay. I want you to look and let me see. Am I covering it up? I am covering it up. Let's see. Okay. Look in the bottom left corner. Do you see the spinny thing going on down there? That is the two machine guns that are there mounted onto the hull of the tank. Now watch when I fire. See how it's throwing ammunition all over the place? And you can still see it spinning. If you look at the bottom left corner of the screen, you can still see it spinning. I saw that earlier, and I laughed so hard. Now, this is a T1E1. Its model is not yet complete. You can see how plain it looks. So there's not a whole lot we can conclude about this. But it does have a 37mm and a 75mm gun. The 37mm ammunition still shows basically 75mm information, which you can look at by doing this. Yes, that's right. This is the 37mm ammo, and it's showing the wrong information. That said, I tested. It does not penetrate that much. It also doesn't do that much damage. So it's just the ammunition in use is correct. The numbers are just displaying it correctly. It also gets along pretty darn good. 32 kilometers per hour is nothing to sneeze at. So that makes me think that it's potentially not the final model for this vehicle. And once again, let's see. That machine gun makes me laugh every time. Now, assuming that the 37mm is properly modeled and just has wrong information shown, you can actually penetrate the turret of the Panther from the side with a 37mm, which means, yes, you can kill this tank with nothing but the 37mm, just like that. The Tiger II, on the other hand, is a little bit tougher nut to crack. Let's go see if we can crack it real quick with a 37mm. That'll be entertaining. Really, it feels like they put the base M4 Shermans. Sorry, that still makes me giggle. It looks like they put the base M4 Sherman's maneuverability on this heavy tank. So I'm thinking it might not be quite so speedy in the end. Yeah, as far as I can tell, unless we go maybe right there. I just don't think that, yeah, I mean, the 75mm will go in and will go through. The 37mm will not. That said, the 75mm does struggle here. Wow. Will it kill it? I thought I tested earlier, but I can't even shoot it into the engine. Not from point blank range. Let's try it from the side here. Fine, you are going down. No question. Okay, now we're killing things. Okay, good. We're getting there. So yes, you can pick apart a Tiger II with the 75mm gun and this Wimpy AP. It just takes a while. There's the driver. Wow, earlier I thought this thing went through about there. Fine, let's move back and see if the ammo will go up. Well, I mean, I can do all kinds of damage, but apparently killing it's going to take a little bit more time. And that's not what we're here to do today anyway, so. You're going to die. You are going to die, though. You will die. There, finally. That was painful. And of course, there's always the last test we have to do with any tank, and this is the T1E1 is included. You can burn to death. I'm okay with that. That spinning machine gun still makes me laugh. Okay. Now, the most important question that we ask every time on one of these. Oh, there you go. By the way, bottom right corner, you'll see what ammunition I used to kill that tank. That's the M74B1. I still am not sold on that as a feature, honestly. Question is, though, will it float? That definitely bailed over the side in interesting ways. No, it will not float. Okay, that's enough on the T1E1. I am somewhat excited about the T1E1 because that's not because I expect it'll be good, but because it's just going to be funny. It's going to be funny, especially when they fix that machine gun. But that's what I think of that one. Okay, let's see. Nothing else for U.S. ground, so we go on to Germany. They're getting a T-72M1, bloop, 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 which is just a garden variety T-72. Here's your specs. Here's your ammunition types. 425 mils of pin at 9.3 is nothing to sneeze at, I might add. It'll do just fine. It's a garden variety T-72. Not much ERA or anything like that as far as I can see. And then they also are getting the SDKFZ. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce that in German. But this is the SDKFZ 222. There's two versions of this coming to the game. One is going to China. The other one's going to Germany. And the difference is in the gun. I don't know why everything's got raindrops on it right now. This is a higher fire rate, and smaller magazines. The other one is a lower fire rate with bigger magazines. So you just get to decide what you want more than anything else, you know. All done. And as you can see, the 20 mil is pretty garden variety. It'll go around. It'll come around. It'll do all the things you expect. The ammunition on this thing only has 37 mils of pin at point blank range. But at this low a BR, you're probably in pretty good shape anyway. You'll be able to kill open top and lightly armored vehicles, other armored cars, and maybe even some medium tanks at the low BRs that this thing's at. Case in point, that T-26 didn't stand a chance. And of course, we all have to ask the age-old question. Will it float? No, it will not float. I love sinking tanks. Oh yeah, low tier is going to hate this thing. No question in my mind. I mean, I just took out that T-26 from the front. So, yeah. Low tier is going to hate it. It'll be like the R3 at 5.0. Back when it was 3.7. So that's it for Germany. Russia's getting some pretty important stuff, and I can't test drive it, so I apologize for that. But this is the Panzer S1. Now, if you are ever in a position where you've been panzered, it means that you probably are not having a good day at school. That's not what that means after all. Anyway, this thing's got some 18-kilometer range missiles on it. So let's take a look at the modifications on it. Well, let's take a fast look at the lack of armor, just while we're going by. Oh! Also, you can see the color-coded parts of the tank here. You can see like the drivetrains in green, the ammunition and guns are in red, the ancillary equipment's in blue, that type of thing. Okay, so turn that off. Modifications. Hi, Rainey. How's it going? Haven't seen you in a coon's age. Anyway, Panzer S1 has got a 30 millimeter gun with 65 mils of pin. That's enough to really rip up some sides and backs of even some MBTs. At 11.3, you're going to need that extra protection. And the missiles, well, let's take a look at these specs. If you look there, we've got a launch range of 20 kilometers, a guaranteed launch range of 18 kilometers, 30 seconds for missile guidance time, 8.47 kilograms of TNT that will blow anything out, 300-meter arming distance, a trigger radius of just 9 meters. So this thing can turn, it can fly, it can, with a 32G max overload, and it's got a long stinking range, so if you can lock it, you can shoot it, and you can shoot it down. That's even beyond the render range of the little dots in the air. What can I say? That's pretty crazy stuff right there. And this thing's at 11.3. The downside, of course, is that you are the size of a semi-tractor trailer. Yeah. I mean, you're enormous. You're a target. Anybody with Heat FS will blow you out of the sky. Well, off the ground. Anybody with an HE shell, if they're crazy enough to carry one of those at top tier, yeah, you got no chance. But you do have a 30-millimeter gun, which is right there. There's 2 of them. Bloop, bloop. So you can engage both aerial and ground targets with your guns if you need to. Overall, this thing I expect to be nasty because somebody's going to park it behind a mountain and just start down an aircraft with it. And then they'll probably pop out from behind there and try to rush a cap. At what speed? Speed. 90 kilometers per hour. That's moving. It's moving pretty good. That's about 55 miles an hour, I think, roughly. Mental math, roughly. So that's the Panzer S1. Expect that to be a real thorn in your side at top tier. As always, Russia's getting the absolute best AA everything. I mean, everything they've got seems to be overpowered. Don't even get me started on the number of 2S-38s I see. That thing's a 9.7, and it wrecks everything from the front, the back, the sides with that high fire rate. A 57-millimeter gun. Yeah. Even the 2S-25 isn't too bad, but the 2S-38 is nasty. Anyway, Panzer S1, that's good, the scoop on it. Then there's this M5359. And let's see, I'm not sure if it's Polish. I think it's Polish or Czech. Not sure. Anyway, this is another AA gun, and this one we can test drive. While we're here, 91 millimeters of pin with its 30-millimeter gun with HVAPs. I'm not sure that's the final details, but doggone it, 91 millimeters of pin. That's the same penetration as the US 75 millimeters base shell. And the magazines are big. Yeah, I can definitely see this thing wrecking. What BR is this thing? I mean, come on. Now, I'm only doing about 34 kilometers per hour, so it's not a speed demon. But with 91 mils of pin, do you think that's the final number? I don't know, maybe. I mean, that's a hit for. Let's go see what else we can kill with this thing real quick. Hi, Deeper Slaw. How's life treating you today? Check. There we go. Thank you very much, Sturkey. I mean, I'm going to roll up on the side of this Panther, and I'm going to just totally rip it apart. Just like that. Whoa! It definitely kind of bowled me over. By the way, that gunner's head is, in fact, high enough that he can have his head shot off with a pistol. This thing is going to seriously wreck a bunch of stuff. From high volume of fire and tremendous penetration. I mean, look at that. I just took out the entire turret. Ta-da! It's actually easier to knock out that Tiger II with this than it is with the US 75mm gun. By far. So let's see what the BR on this thing was again. .6.0, yeah. Oh yeah, that thing's surely going to go up. I mean, with that much penetration, that high a fire rate, I'll bet it goes up in BR. Unless, of course, Gaijin wants to leave it low for the fun of it. Okay. You asked what I was most looking forward to in this patch. Let me tell you, I think it's the next one. Let's pop over into Great Britain. And down. Up. Where is it at? Churchill. Churchill NA-75. This is a Churchill tank with a Churchill turret and a US 75mm gun at 4.3. The one problem I've always had with the Churchill is that it couldn't kill anything to speak of, at least not easily. It could take a tremendous amount of damage, but killing things was a challenge and a half with it. Let me show you what this thing has that most of them don't. That's right, it's got M61. APHE, or APCBC in this case. But it's a round with explosive filler in it. This puppy, when you get it through the point of getting this M61, it will totally wreck a lot of stuff, and it will be hard to kill. Now, obviously, there is stuff that will kill it over there, but compared to most of what's going on, this can kill, and it can be killed, but it's going to be a lot harder to kill than your average, say, U.S. tank. I'm looking forward to it, even though it is going to be slow as all get out. I'm excited about this one. This is what I'm excited about. Now, we can take it for a test drive, but I can't bring in that the better shell. So you can kind of see what that looks like. Oh no, I forgot to do a will it float with the with that AA gun. Ah! Well, I'll do it with this one. Oh! See that right there? That looks like a spent shell casing. My buddies say they don't have it on their clients, so apparently I just got a buggy one. Oh, yeah. I haven't looked at the KPZ-70 or the XM803. How badly did they nerf it, Depro? I'm going to do the will it float early on this one, because I hate... The one thing I hate is driving something at this slow. And it does not float! Big surprise. I mean, I've driven worse. But doggone it. Painful. Still, this is the one I'm looking forward to right here. That is the Churchill NA-75. And they've also got that new Challenger 2E. Now, they put it all the way at the bottom of the tree. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's an export tank that never actually got any customers. I don't really think it's the top of the tree. I think the Black Knight is the top of the tree. That said, it's a Challenger. You really can't go too wrong with it. It's a little bit slower, but even so, it's got a 1,500 horsepower engine, which makes it faster than all of its other Challenger brethren. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to be nice. Let's go and take a look at its ammunition, which we expect to be pretty straightforward. With its best being 564 millimeters of penetration. Should be pretty darn good. I expect that Brit maidens will be enjoying the extra mobility they'll get. They do lose like the active protection, but they gain some mobility and some capability as far as that goes. All right, since I'm here, I'm going to back up. I'm going to take a look at the XM803. See if I can find out what they nerfed about it. Modifications. Oh, wow. 285 mils of penetration? That is nerfed. I mean, you still get the ATGM, but wow, that is pretty hardcore nerf. Ow. Okay, so we're going to move forward to Japan before we go to the Type 16 first production series, which is just like the Type 16P. I believe even the, let me see, modifications. M735 versus this one, modifications. Yeah, ammunition is the same. Everything is the same. It's just premium. And it has these, it's got chains on the tires and camo netting on the gun. The chains do not change the handling of the vehicle any. So really, you're looking at a garden variety Type 16. Now, I do like the Type 16. I think it's a great little tank destroyer. So I'm not complaining about that in the slightest. But I'm not sure if it's $60 worth of worth it, if you know what I'm saying. You know, it could be a simple mistake. Sometimes things get into it. However, they also mentioned that they have added some additional rounds to the DeMar formula, a modified version of the LO that they're using for it. So that could be the results of that new calculation. I think that it will turn out to be wrong entirely. So I expect there'll be changes. And by the way, will it float? Whoosh. There's got to be a ridge right there. I've hit it like every time. No, it does not float. Oh, that's so much fun. Okay, so that's everything for Japan. Now we go to China. And China gets a couple of little things. They get their own SDKFC 222. And we're just going to go straight to the test drive so I can show you the difference in the gun. Okay, do you remember how slow the fire rate was on the previous one? This is much slower. And it's got a much larger magazine. You get 20 rounds out of it. Otherwise, they're identical. But you get this slower fire rate, 20 rounds of 20 millimeters. I'd almost say that this is probably the better deal out of it. Just because of the larger magazine size. Also, for some reason, it looks like it ought to drive the opposite direction. But that's just me. And of course, the important part, we already know the answer because we saw it before, but will it float? No, it does not float. All right. Yeah, the odds are that's just the new formula calculation for that APFSDS, and it resulted in some numbers that don't make a lick of sense. Yeah, welcome to Gaijin. May I take your order? Moving down, we go to the GTS 63, which is around here somewhere, and just below where I can test drive it. But this thing is interesting because it's 7.3. It looks like it shouldn't be here. It's a pretty typical design. It's got the an 85 millimeter gun that would be typically considered outdated by this point. However, not only does it have a heat FS and of course, an AP CBC round, it also still has an AP FSDS with 227 millimeters of pin. That's at 7.3, and it will slice through pretty much most armor at that range. Not a good turret rotation speed. Only 5.9 degrees per second. But if you can keep your gun aimed at the enemy, you got a pretty good chance of killing it. All right, what's next? By the way, if you need me to stop or review anything in particular, let me know. I am watching the comments. I would be happy to go back and take another look at things for you. Italy is getting a new Ariete AMV. There it says PT1. I knew it said it somewhere. This one says PT1. So, let's preview this guy. That doesn't have as many machine guns on top. And the armor is only, reasonable. Nothing special. The layout is decent. It does have composite armor, so there's that going for it. And the ammunition, 623 mils of pin at point blank range. You can kill some stuff with that. No question in my mind. Should be a good addition to the Italian tree. I kind of wish I was down there so I could play with it, but that's how things go sometimes. As you can see here, I once at one point in time was able to get into the automatic without research it without any kind of blocks. Well, those times have ended. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. Otherwise, Italy doesn't get anything else. Then we go to France, and I'll tell you, my French buddies tell me they are not terribly excited because we get a 2C, a Tech Tree 2C, with a 75 millimeter gun. I think that's going to be okay, but at 2.7, this thing's far too slow, and the armor is not going to be quite effective enough in any kind of an up tier. Let's take a look at the modifications here and see what we got. We got an MLE 1900 high explosive, an MLE 1916 APHE with 55 millimeters of pin. Oh my heavens. Yeah, this is going to be struggle bus territory right here. Oh. Test drive. Let's go see what we can do with this thing. That's the HE shell. Let's go to the APCBC shell. Okay, well that went through a Panzer II, which doesn't say much. Oh man, I thought the Churchill was bad. Slow. You know what? I think they ought to put sails on it and add pirates. And you'd probably have something even better that way. Oh, gee. Yeah, I will take the Churchill any day over this. This will be a huge struggle. We made it. I'm going to make the left turn here. Oh, that's... I'm not even sure I can make the turn to do the will it float. All right, will it float? Wow. Suck that thing right down there. Ooh, I can see it. So that is the 2C in the tech tree. A 2.7, 57 millimeters of pin is not going to be a fun time. Not a fun time at all. Okay, let's go to Sweden. And they're getting the ITP SV90 right here. And of course, it's right after where I can do anything with it. But this thing is ugly. Oh, it's ugly. This looks like what you would get if you went back to the 60s and asked for a robot on treads for a movie. I mean, this is what you would get. This is totally what you would get. You got to get your satellite TV, get your ESPN and CNN and TMZ and all the fancy channels. You know, then you've got your Leopard 2 chassis, which is the bright spot here because there is basically no armor on the turret itself. None, zero, zilch, nada. It's got just enough for it to maybe shrug off rifle caliber rounds. Give me just a moment, D-Pro. I will come right to it. Yeah, the French have a particular struggle in War Thunder, I swear. Yeah, the rumor is that Germany suffers, but Germany's got all those Leopard 2A6s and things like that. But this thing is ugly. Let's see. Let's go ahead and turn that off and go to the modifications. The 35 millimeter gun gets 127 millimeters of pin on the DM23. So there you go. Otherwise, 68 mil is plenty for most of what you're going to face. This should be a lot of fun, but boy, is it ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Still moves along at 68 kilometers per hour. Okay. Whew. Sweden, we'll see. Then we've got one more tank, so I'll just get that finished, and then I'll come back to your request, D-Pro. Israel gets another Merkava. And that's really all the excitement about it. It's like somebody put a cheese wedge on top of turret treads. I'm sorry, tank treads. The ammunition is Garden Variety. Still 611 millimeters of pin for the M338 for when you get there. Should be good. It's a good addition. Gives Israel a little bit more of a fluff on its tech tree. That said, it's not game-breaking or game-changing. So that is the Israeli Merkava Mark IV LIC. Now I've got a special request to look at the loadouts on the A32A. Aviation. A32A. Secondary weapons. Here's your secondary weapons on the A32A. We got I'm just going to quickly scan through the ordnance here so you can see what it is. You might have to pause and take another look. If there's something specific you want to see, let me know. Okay, that's the A32A. Then the next one was the J32B. J32B. Where are you, J32B? There's you are. No changes that I recall. Just air to, normal things. SK60N. Not sure where the 60N is, so we'll just search for it. SK60N. There is no N. Do you mean the B? I'll take a look at the B, assuming that's what you meant. And this does not look like it's changed. Quick scan of the armament types. And the last one was the Saab 150G. 105G. There we go. Secondary weapons. That's what I figured. So I went with the 60B. Then I see quick scan of here for the 105G. Nothing to my eye is different than what I recall, but that doesn't make it true. Okay, so that's it on that. Now we go on to the slightly less interesting pieces. Specifically, we're on to the helicopters, and there's only one. The U.S. Killer Egg, or little bird. Let's go over here. Helicopters, Helichoppers. The H-6M, by the way, comes right off the UH-1B, allowing you to get straight to it. Its claim to fame are the laser-guided, effectively HVAR equivalents. They've got a firing range of 11 kilometers, 455 meter per second max speed, which is pretty slow. Yeah, no flares on the little bird. You're going to have to use your agility to try and escape anything. So these are going to be, I think these will be fun, but you're going to have to salvo them, laser them in, salvo them. The Hellfires are garden variety. You're already familiar with them, and they'll kill anything on the battlefield. Straightforward stuff. Now, this thing is kind of fun to fly. And I'm just going to carry the Hydras for the fun of it. Oh, yeah, it'll die pretty fast. The key is that you're going to want to get some of the standoff munitions and do something like pop up just enough to see, and then launch your ATGMs and then land again, because you only get 4 of the ATGMs. So you'll do that, pretty straightforward. Turn the hover mode off. Let's get over here. Otherwise, it's pretty fast. It's agile. I like the feel of it. Let me turn the manual roll control on. And it's small, so you're going to be hard to hit with main caliber guns. Obviously, if they've got a VT fuse, they're going to get in on it. But this thing's really slick and agile. You can turn this thing on a dime, put it nearly anywhere. Whee! And it'll get up to speed pretty quick. Now, obviously, right now I've just got the Hydra rockets, so I'm not going to be able to do standoff stuff. But let me tell you, this thing's just a lot of fun to fly. Aljo. Nice. Whee! Really, it is just a real hoot to fly. Nice and agile. I like it. It'll be fun when it gets some actual decent weapons. And, and you can land it pretty quick. I mean, that's all it takes to land the thing. I mean, really, you can be on the ground in a hurry. And it seems to put up with the abuse pretty well. That said, if any of these guys are still alive, they will blow your head off. There's no armor. That is that windshield does not stop anything. And you can see that there are no doors, so they get no additional protection. There's not even anything protecting the interior of the back compartment. Don't get shot. It's that simple. Just don't get shot. Oh yeah, absolutely, D-Pro. The thing about these streams is that since I couldn't do it during the day when things would typically be more active, it's gonna be a small stream tonight. No big deal. Key is though that we all have fun, we enjoy ourselves, and just have a blast. That's because you are a lurky turkey and you know it. Whoops, that's going to be a crash. All right. Slide those, slide it, slide it, slide it, slide it. Whoa. Recovered. That's the AH-6M. A lot of fun, but you aren't going to live long. So make the most of it. Have some fun. Yeah, it's going to be hard to grind. I am a free-to-play player as well. You'll note that I do not... the only time I carry any premium time is if I happen to get it from like a something I've picked up or a award or something like that. Or when the very rare time when I pick up a premium, I will have a little bit of premium time around that. And that is the only helicopter. Now we go on to the Blue Water Fleet. And since the U.S. has got the big additions this time, the additions are the Des Moines and the Nevada. Now, I've already done a video on the Nevada. This ship is ridiculously famous. And as I said in that video, doggone it, it's got sunk twice. And it just stubbornly refuses to die in many ways, shapes, or form. It withstood 2 nuclear bombs. 2 nuclear bombs, direct fire by the Iowa and 2 light cruisers, direct fire from a whole bunch of destroyers and 5-inch guns. Then it finally took a torpedo from an Avenger bomber to finally put it under the waves with its flag still flying. This ship doesn't die. But I have a little bit of bias there. I grew up in Nevada. So, yeah, the state, not the ship. So, I am pretty happy to see it. You know, a lot of guns, big guns. 14-inch guns should be really effective at any BR in War Thunder. So, yeah, a lot of fun. And it's got a decent anti-aircraft loadout, too. So, we've got probably the first... I'm not going to go that far. But one of the early battleships that actually carries enough anti-aircraft to actually fend off planes without having to rely on escorting cruisers or destroyers. And then there's the Des Moines. We're just going to go straight into some test sailing there. The Des Moines is just another like the Newport News. It's got the 8-inch auto-loading guns.
Engine, flank speed.
Of course, that doesn't make them any faster to rotate. Blew it apart. I mean, look at this thing. It's just ripping up the aircraft up there, and I'm not having to do anything. The 8-inch guns aren't going to be quite able to punch over their weight limit, weight range, like, say, those 14-inchers on the Nevada are. But, they're auto-loading 8-inch guns to be putting the lead down range in a hurry. You'll kill a lot of stuff with this ship. Of course, we already have the Newport News, who don't really need this one, too. Voila. Okay, so now that that's done. Nice, pretty ship, though. Okay, so we're done with that. Then we're going to take a brief stop in Russia for the MPK Coastal Fleet. There it is. MPK BR PR. Can't talk tonight. MPK PR-204, and its claim to fame is the enormous mortar launchers on the front, with just about a little bit shy of a 3-kilometer range. If you can put some of those on target, you will really wreck somebody's day. Otherwise, it's pretty garden variety. 56 kilometers per hour. It's okay. It's good. It'll be fine. But until you research those the mortars, it's going to be a pain. So that's that. Then we get to Great Britain. And they've got 2 editions, the Whitby. Whitby. Whatever, Whitby. There's the Whitby. We're just going to preview it real quick here. 4.5 inch, 2 4.5 inch guns, 2 40mm guns, 3.7 BR. Oh, I don't think this is going to stand up to much. It's lightly armed. I'll just put it that way. I mean, I think it'll do okay, but it's really lightly armed. You're going to have to be beaten on something for a while to get it to sink.
Secure the ship for sea. Target identified. Boat.
500 meters.
I mean, it'll do all right. 3.7 just feels a little bit high.
Action stations. Enemy spotted.
Air attack alert. Target destroyed. Direct hit.
Engine. Flank speed.
This does not have the anti-aircraft gunnery that the other ships have got. That's for sure. So that's the Whitby real fast. And let's go to the Terra Nova. Terra Nova. Where is the Terra Nova? Blue water? Coastal? Here's the Terra Nova. There it is. Preview that guy. We got 3-inch, 2 3-inch guns and 4 3-inch guns and some mortars. Again, fairly lightly armed, but still better than the Whitby. Still at battle rating 3.7 and rank 5. I think I'd be happier in the Terra Nova than I would be on the Whitby just because of the amount of effective armaments I think this one has compared. I'm not sure. I mean, the Whitby does have bigger guns, but just less. So, take your pick. This is a pretty boat. I mean, it really is a pretty boat. It looks very nice. Those lines are so curved, though. It doesn't have the normal sharp transition from the deck to the sides of the hull. 44 kilometers per hour, not bad. I mean, for the BR. Okay, then we have Japan getting the Nanohi. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that one. Where is the Nano? It's a premium. I think it's over in Coastal. Where is it? Nenohi. Bloop. 4.3 blue water. There it is. Let's preview that guy. 4.3. Let's see, 427 millimeter guns. Let's see, 127, another 127, and 425 millimeter guns. I don't know, 4.3. That's better armed than some of the other options, but 4.3. I don't know. Let's test sail this thing. Okay. Come on, get there first. Okay, there we go. That's one. Definitely accelerates well. Come on, get a gun on. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Not much on for anti-aircraft. But otherwise, a responsive little ship. And finally, the star of the hour. Now this one, France is getting their first ship. But it's a rank 2 destroyer. I'm pretty sure the other ones started with a rank 3 destroyer. So that's going to limit its usefulness, I think, overall. That said, there's nothing wrong with the Aigle. And, I think it's pretty decently armed. In fact, I think it's heavily armed for BR 4.3. You got 138.6 millimeter guns, 5 37 millimeter guns, some turrets, and of course torpedoes. I like it. If it was rank 3, I'd like it more.
Préparez le navire au combat. Moteur, pleine puissance. Identifié. Bateau.
Did not go in one shot. Let's try another one. Does go in 2. It does go in 2. Okay. Ooh, the aircraft took out the plane as well. So I think overall you're looking at a fairly decent mix. But like I said, if it was rank 3, I'd be a lot happier with it. Rank 2, not so much. It's a good looking ship though. Alright, that takes care of all of the new vehicles. Let's go on and take a look a little bit farther down. We already seen Seversk. We got some new other changes here. The Piranai. Oh, man. That's going to be one of those days. Pronouncing things has going to been a challenge lately. Let's see if we can get into an Air RB match or something like that. Let's see. Change that from ground to air realistic. Oh, I can go lower BR in air. Let's see what we can find. Say no more, say no more. I'll take Tempest Mark V out. Now, usually when they do a dev server, they make sure that you're only getting into the new maps. The Pyrenees location is the one that's for aviation, so this shouldn't be a problem. And they have several variations in that area. Nope, this is Vietnam. Is Vietnam on my list here? They have added new RB missions for aircraft on Vietnam. So it could be a bit before we get Pyrenees. Okay, that's still spectator mode. Still spectator mode. I think the dev server is a little overloaded. Something has actually managed to get in the air. I can hear it. There it is. See, from here we got a fairly traditional layout. Let's go look at the tactical map. Unusual offset. Not sure how I feel about that. Well, apparently it's not going to let me spawn in this time. I'll give it another minute. I'm not the only one. In the meantime, I can kind of look around using one of these AI aircraft here. I like the mountainous terrain. That's one of the things I've been really excited about, as with new maps, is more options for evading those missiles. One of those options is to drop into a valley or behind a mountain range and stay out of sight. I think the IL-2 just stopped making noise. Did you turn off your engine? Man, you are a quiet IL-2 now. The target spread is still focused in the middle of the map. You know, nothing special in that regard. So that's the new setup in Vietnam. Probably not going to be able to get in the Pyrenees because they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with new RB missions. Let's return to hangar and grab something more top tier. Okay, to battle. Okay, I'm just scanning down things here. We got the new locations and missions. We've already talked about Seversk 13. I really would like to see Pyrenees, but it's not looking like it's likely to happen. Nah, Sinai. That's a new layout, though. At least it looks like it's going to let me spawn in this time. Let's see. This is the new aircraft mission in the location C, right? Sinai, anti-aircraft units and airfields now recover from death every 10 minutes. That's interesting. So on enduring confrontation, you will actually find that that if you destroy AI aircraft, anti-aircraft, they'll respawn every 10 minutes. Let's see. It looks like everybody else is bots. I'm not going to stick around for long. I'm just going to kind of get up in the air so I can look around a bit. Okay. While we're getting into the air, we can also discuss some of the other things in the dev log. Sorry, the patch notes for this dev server. The Ariete and the Ariete PSO, the CL3142 round has been changed to DM53. M13 and M16 will all get a patched bug that prevented detonation of the ammo rack on a hit. PGZ09 has an increased ammo capacity from 440 to 480 rounds. GAZ AAA and GAZ MM both had their gear ratios adjusted. So now they'll be doing 65 and 70 kilometers per hour top speed. That means those milk trucks will really be delivering the milk in a hurry. The PBV302 Bill has a bug that's been fixed which caused damage to the engine when the vehicle's floating in water. The Char 25T gets gear ratios adjusted. M41A1, the turret traverse speed has been reduced from 36 to 24 degrees per second. So if you're a big Bulldog fan, your turret rotation will get nerfed in the new patch. Let me see. The 152mm G530 shell is now considered semi-armor piercing and calculated by the corresponding formula. The max armor piercing value reduced from 95 to 69 millimeters. Wow. Could you imagine launching out a big old honking chum bucket full sized round and ending up, not killing it because your penetration is so low? Wow. Okay, desktop for a moment or two here while I scroll down. T-54E1 has had its reverse speed reduced from 11.5 to 8.4 kilometers per hour. For Japan mains, you'll like this one, the M4A376W for Japan. had its weight overestimated by a little more than half a ton because there was additional track plating that it doesn't actually have. SU-57, the crew has been reduced from 5 to 4. Stridsvagen 105, gear ratios have been adjusted in accordance to other vehicles with the CD850 transmission. See, the Type 63I, speed and water has been increased from 10 to 11.7 kilometers per hour. T-34-100, ammo capacity reduced from 50 to 30 rounds. That's a change with no difference. I don't even carry more than about 20 rounds anytime I'm driving a tank around. LAV-AD, speed and water, has been increased from 6.4 to 10 kilometers per hour. That's a good change. AFT-09, elevation rate of the missile launcher has been increased from 5 to 10 degrees per second. Traverse has been reduced from 30 to 15 degrees per second. That's an interesting change. The AFT-09 has been a bit of a thorn in my side lately. I think that combination will be an overall nerf. Chieftain Marksman gets a laser rangefinder. Awesome. That's one of the hardest parts about using the Marksman. APDS rounds now use a modified Jacob DeMar formula.
We're losing.
Hard metal APDS rounds with compact penetration nose tip now feature their own slope effects. That includes the 37mm SLPPRJ M49, 75mm same, 76mm M33 1A2, 76mm shot SV Mark I, the 83mm shot Mark III, and the 105mm T279. Also the 120mm shot L1G. Spag and SAM vehicles now have their tracking radar unfolded when the search radar is folded in order to be able to track the target. Alright, so now we're getting kind of in the middle of the map here. We can kind of start talking about it. Really, this is a wide open map. There's not really any terrain features. The layout is not terribly different than anything else we've bumped into. So I'm not terribly impressed. Oh, that's a real player. Didn't expect there to be any real people in here. All right. Probably will not track.
The enemy will win.
Oh, it did track. Waha! Anyway, nothing special about that map, so, you know, really not impressed. So we're going to back on out of there. And let me see. Let's try one more time, see if we can we'll do the, yeah, A10A is fine. Let me see, continue on to aircraft and helicopter model damage, yeah, all that kind of stuff. 12.7mm FN, the weight has been reduced to the gun pod. Same for the 12.7mm gun pod FN RMP LC. Weight and ammo capacity has been reduced. The 30mm DEFA 553 cannon. The round velocity has been increased to 820 meters per second. Holds on. To battle. B-29 gets a 4,000 pound bomb loadout. See, you talked about the bow fighters. The Canberras get bombs in the general purpose GP series and can change to MC. What are we in anyway? I didn't pay any attention. Ladoga, winter 1941. Big whoop to do. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is garden variety. F80C-10 gets some 1,000 pounder, 500 pounder, and a 250 pound bomb added, as well as a fuel pod. The J8B gets a ballistic computer. So you talked about the Lancasters bump fix for the MiG-23, which was the Gish 23L missing in the X-ray mode. Mirage, Mirage 2000 CS5. The 30mm cannon capacity has been reduced from 270 to 250 rounds. Not a big change, but it could be an important one for you. The SA-341F Gazelle, ammunition capacity reduced from 1,000 to 240 rounds. That is 3/4 of its ammo. Poof. Big change. Keep that in mind if you're a heli player. The Waffe Granada 21 rockets, the separate rocket fire has been added for all aircraft. So you don't have to fire both tubes at the same time. You can fire individually. T4TT localization of bombs, torpedoes, and pylons has been fixed. AHS free setup of 4 AHS free. It's a free setup of 4 ATGMs. Those are Hellfires. Not important. Not important. Not important. Not important. Not important. Some planes have got our different radar warning systems. Turret changes to the JU-87s with some different angles. Beep. Tornado all series gets a free setup of 4 1,000-pound bombs. I-185 gets a fuel tank inerting system added. That means it might be able to actually avoid catching on fire for once. IL-28 gets improved armor glass. Rear glass armor goes from 102 to 106 millimeters. Custom. They did add a bunch of new vehicles to the custom weapons setup, so I'm not even going to make the full list because it's just too long. And they've added some incendiary bombs to a variety of aircraft. Moxie, you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for stopping in. I really do appreciate it. Always glad to have you on. It is late. It's a later live stream than normal after a busy day for me, so totally get it. Changes to the naval are minor. And lastly, firing sounds of automatic cannons have been reworked. Also, the F-16 aircraft series has received some sound design for the mechanization of nozzles. Okay, expect somebody to be after me in just a moment here. Okay, let's see. There's exactly one actual player in here. That is too far away for a launch, so.
Our victory is near.
And there is that, in fact, player. All right, so we have come to the end of the not dev blog, but the patch notes. Is there anything you guys want to see before we close up for the evening? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, Gripen would be very nice. I agree with you on that. We'll see when it finally gets added. And Lurky, thank you so much for joining this evening. I love it when you guys are here. We can have some conversations about what's going on and enjoy the stream together. I love just doing these things. I just never seem to have much time, so I really appreciate you sticking out with me here. For everybody else, thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed, jump in there, hit the subscribe button. We will always be giving you the latest updates from Gaijin. Also, when we come to another dev server, we will try and do another live stream. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign it off here. Good night. And we'll see you in the skies, on the ground, or in the waves of War Thunder.